Daniel here for Tabletop for One and my 5 after 5 solo preview of Ovation. Now, Ovation is designed by Kirsten Lunde, a first-time designer, and is currently on Kickstarter. I believe it has about a week left. I'll have links in the description if you want to follow the project or back the campaign. And the solo mode is designed by none other than David Digby, one of the best solo designers out there. Now for the disclaimers, I received this preview prototype copy to try out and show you. I'm not going to keep this copy. It's going to be passed on back to the designer. And on top of that, after I agreed to do my tutorial solo playthrough video, Kirsten offered to give me a copy of the game after production. I have not been otherwise compensated for any of these videos, and this particular video I never promised. I'm kind of doing it on a whim. Now, Ovation is an engine building, a racing kind of game where you're trying to perform the best music, you gain Maestro titles, and beat out your AI rival for the crown. And so in this game, you're going to be spending a lot of time building your engine, trying to manage your resources efficiently, manage your action selection quickly so you can jump from action to action and do all sorts of combo magic in hopes of beating out the AI who's very fast at their engine. And so I have 5 thoughts after 5 plays of Ovation. First, I want to talk about the art and graphic design. Now, the art is very whimsical. It's got these cute little characters. They have these striking poses on the main boards. The art on the cards is fantastic. I love it. It's very cartoony, very fun, and I enjoy what presence it brings to the board. Now, the graphic design is fantastic. I can't believe how well the graphic design works. It's easy to follow. It's easy to learn the icons. I don't need a player aid for the icons. The icons are really straightforward. Your actions are printed on the board so you know what you're doing. And so it's really user-friendly and everything. So I really appreciate the time and effort that was put in to making sure the graphic design worked out well. And so next I'm going to talk about the production quality. Now this is a prototype, but it's a very well done prototype and it's a reflective of what the game is going to offer. We're talking dual layer boards where you're going to put your resources, and then we have these wooden components like the wooden notes here and the little composer pieces, and so everything looks good. And if the production quality is as good as this, I'd be happy to receive this as a game because I really appreciate the effort put into this. And if I remember correctly, on the campaign page, they don't have any stretch goals for the very reason that they developed the game as best as they could, providing a solid experience and already included all the upgrades, the dual layer boards and that sort of thing in the production of the game, so no stretch goals were needed to meet those thresholds. And so for number 3, we'll talk about the overall gameplay. And so what you're doing in the game is you're choosing one of 4 actions, and one of those actions is gain inspiration, which is the resource of the game. The other actions are buying cards or performing music pieces. Now the cards that you buy are going to be added and slotted in at the top of your player board. They're going to give you additional bonus actions or bonus resources when you use that particular action. What it allows though is it allows you to jump from that action to another action and keep your turn going. It's really well done, and there's a lot of different ways to build your engine and build that combo, and so depending on how the cards come out, it'll provide a different experience every time you play. And so I really appreciate the engine building. It's quite fun. It's very enjoyable. I am not good at building an engine in this game, but I enjoy it very much. And so for number 4, we're going to talk about the ease of solo play. Now this is a David Digby design, and so his AIs tend to be very much like an opponent, but streamlined enough that you don't have to memorize too much of a flowchart. There are some priorities that you have to memorize on what cards the AI is going to choose, like which music they're going to perform. You have to manage their resources and perform all their bonus actions, but since the gameplay is really straightforward, it's not too hard to grasp onto this solo mode if you're familiar with a David Digby solo mode. I happen to love David Digby's solo modes. He is so prevalent in the solo gaming community, but his name's never on the box, so you don't even realize it half the time. I bet you'd be surprised how many of your games have been affected by either his design, development, or help in some way. Now, the fact is that because it's a little bit on like the medium plus complexity of a solo mode, it's gonna take you a few games to get used to the priority charts and everything. But the nice thing is they're gonna be including player aids to help facilitate the AI's turn and make things a little bit easier. Now, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. See, Kirsten asked me to see if I could help improve the solo mode. I have spent a considerable amount of time trying to improve the solo mode, and I'm sorry, I can't. I have come up with a few ways that I can streamline the process and make it flow a little bit better, but it takes away from how much the AI feels like an opponent, and I'm sorry, I can't improve it. I told Kirsten, this is great. I mean, this is a really good solid solo mode. It's a 9-card solo mode. The way the decisions work, the way the AI uses the discard pile and the active card pile to do its actions is a really great way to do the solo mode, and I can't improve it. That's not to say it can't be improved, but I gave it my best shot, and I really don't see anything I would personally want to change about the solo mode. All right, so let's go on to replayability. I kind of touched on this when I talked about the engine building. The replayability of the game is quite well. There's a lot of cards that are in the decks. You're not going to go through the entire decks and see all the cards. There are less cards on the music section, but what the game has is it has the Maestro goal cards. Those serve as both a timer for the game and for ways to change up what cards you go for and how you build your engine and that sort of thing. And so the Maestro goal cards will give you certain goals on what type of music to perform, what instruments to perform, and that sort of thing. And so each game you're gonna see 4 of those cards, and there's 14 of them for the solo mode. So there's a lot of different options and variability in that. But this is one of those games that it's just so much fun to build the engine. It's like, it's a wonderful world kind of fun, where you're constantly building an engine. The gameplay may seem similar, some games to the others, but it depends on how the cards come out. And it only takes about a half hour, 45 minutes to play. And it's really easy to reset and play again. There's just a lot to explore. And so there you have it. That was my 5 thoughts after 5 plays of Ovation. Please check out their Kickstarter page. I have a link in the description. Please also ask me any questions in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you like the content you see here. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, I have a link in the description. And I thank you very much for joining me on Tabletop for One. Have a great night.